And I do think so. What do you think about this? Because I feel like we live in a day and age where I feel like the reason why toxic relationships are happening is because women strongly lack accountability and men strongly lack leadership. What do you think? Do you think men lack leadership in today? I mean, you're married,
I mean,
so
I'm
it's,
married. My husband is
but from
a
that,
strong
yeah,
leader,
yeah. But
but
outside of that,
I can just only speak to what I can speak to in
mm-hmm.
my perspective. What I do see is people lack accountability.
Oh, facts.
It's not just women.
But
So
women more so than men.
why do you say men more than women or women more than men?
Because women, I feel like we are more tied to shame. We are more tied to guilt, whereas men are more tied to ego. So for us, it's like scary to just be wrong. Like so many men, like men will be like, all right, babe, my bad. But when do we say I'm sorry?
Oh, that's
When do
true.
we say, damn, baby, you're right. I'm sorry. That was me. We don't say that.
Yeah.
We'll change a subject or we'll activate sexual acts or we'll get snuggly and kissy and affectionate or we'll bring gifts, but we don't actually say the words, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because women love control. Contrary to popular belief, I believe women in relationships are more controlling than men. Like they want the power so bad. I don't know why. And I hate when they talk about a man being a leader, especially the ones who didn't come from a two-parent household. If your father was not in the house, you as a woman, how would you know what a true leader is? How would you know what a true leader is in terms of a relationship if you didn't see your mom growing up being led by a man, by your father? How would you know what a man's leadership looks like?
For the majority of women, let's be real.
No, that's true. I've seen reels where I have literally split a gut laughing and be like, when my wife says it was a really cute one where a woman's literally pronouncing like her husband wrote down
Oh,
all
I
these
saw
words
it.
like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
Expialidocious, but she
she's saying
can't
all the
say.
words and then the word sorry is written there. She's like sorry, yeah, say sorry.
She's like, I can't.
Yeah,
That's how we
like wait,
are.
what?
So that's what
It's
I mean
true.
when I say
Okay,
more
you mean
women lack accountability,
inside of
relationship, and
Okay.
men lack leadership.
So the thing about leadership is I feel okay. I feel like society has been duped since the internet exists. And I also
Factual.
feel like there are some old school traits that I wish that we did carry
Like
forward.
what?
I fear for my sons in the sense that they will probably have to ask, what was your gender assigned at birth?
Damn.
That freaks me all the way out, first and foremost. Secondly, like, are women cooking? Are women cleaning? Could you find a woman that you want to be feminine, but
Nope.
the society, and this is not, we'd have to go into systemic everything of all the single moms raising girls alone. And
That's what I was
yes,
saying.
they'll learn to be independent and I don't need no man
that.
and I'm gonna go get my own bag and I'm gonna start my own thing and I don't need you. I just really want a wholesome, God fearing, cooking, loving, endearing, doting, feminine. Like they'll be my daughters for my sons. And that's
Your sons are cooked. Your sons are cooked because I'm guessing her sons are still a little bit younger, right? So that means by the time they get of age, of dating age or marriage age, whatever is out here is going to be probably 10 times worse in terms of, women not wanting to be traditional women anymore. But the good thing is she knows. So that's the only good thing. She knows as a woman, because it's very hard for women to admit the fact that traditional women are less and less in this day and age. You know what I mean? And she also acknowledges the fact that the only way both girls and boys are going to learn the real traditional way of relationships is if they had both the mom and the dad teaching these values. But if we all grew up in single mother households, the only values we know are usually going to be from our mom because we spent most of the time with our mom changing men. You know what I mean? Not respecting our fathers because some single moms turn kids against their own dads. So it's crazy out here. So a traditional relationship, guys looking for traditional relationships, it's going to be very tough to find.
hard to find, but because I get it, a single mom, because I've been a single mom, has to be in her masculine to provide, to protect, to be there for her children, which is what the father in the household is supposed to be. And then the roles get mixed up. And I can only imagine that if I was raising daughters, who they would become, seeing me hustle, work 3 jobs, be the provider, be the protector. That would have been very different than my sons watching that. I feel like they admire their moms more, but they definitely see me as a hustler. And now, especially for my 17-year-old son, who got to see both, he got to see now single mom, and he also got to see married mom. And it's funny because even as I have a 6-year-old son also, so the 11-year-old difference with my husband, my 17-year-old son will say, Mom, you never did those things with me, or you never did those things to me, or if I would have XYZ, talking about his little brother, you would have. And the craziest part is, I said this to him. I said, because when you were his age, you didn't have a father in your household. When you were his age, I had to be the stern hand. I had to be the correctional. I had to be the masculine one to show you we don't do this.
Damn.
We don't wear that. We don't act this way. We don't. But now that the order has been restored in the household, where there's the man who's the leader and the wife who's submissive, not that we don't submit to each other.
I already know.
She had to add that in. She sounds like a nice traditional feminine woman, but the fact that she had to add in that bit of, oh, we are submissive to each other. Like, why did you think that you had to add that in? That's a little bit, so she sprinkled in a little bit of feminism. Like, women can never say, I submit to my husband. End of story. They always want to say, claim, I submit to my husband, but we are equal by saying we submit to each other. No, your man doesn't submit to you. She had to sprinkle in a little bit of feminism to keep the sisterhood because she's talking to a fellow woman. But my point was, I want to talk about the fact that, so she says her first son, she raised him as a single mom. And now the second son, she's raising him in a two-parent household. The difference is going to be night and day between the eldest son and the younger son. It's going to be night and day because they're going to have two differences in terms of influences. One had a dad, one has a dad available, one didn't, and probably still to this day that doesn't seem like the dad is very involved. So I'm glad she knows the influence single motherhood has on boys. So hopefully the stepdad can step in. For some of you guys want to be stepdads, you're doing a good job. None that I recommend it.
But then comes the children. I can play inside of the role of which I'm supposed to flow inside of my feminine. And when my 17-year-old sees it, like, what are you talking about? You would have did X. You would have did Y.
You would have.
I don't gotta be the strong arm
Right,
now.
yeah.
Now I get to be like, wait till your dad gets home.
Right.
You're gonna be in a lot of trouble, buddy.
Right.
And then dad comes home and he brings the hammer down, right?
Right.
Like I get to use that as a threat now. Like, don't make me tell your father.
Right.
And then they're okay. I
Right.
mean, but also they respect their mother
Right.
because their father respects me.
Right.
And they say, you better respect your mom and you better listen to what she says or the hammer's going to come down. Right. But it's in the restoration, as far as you say, as accountability, it's so hard because women nowadays, we don't have to be held accountable because we're doing everything.
Oh my God.
No, you're not.
Pause. Whoa. I'm sorry. Women don't have to be held accountable because we do everything.
Because we're doing everything.
That's so stupid. Men are doing everything too, but no one cares. So men should be held accountable, or should men not be held accountable either? Remember when you ask for equality? If you're going to claim women shouldn't be held accountable because they're supposedly doing everything, I don't know what that means. Men shouldn't be held accountable either because they're doing everything also. We can also just claim. If we're going to just put out claims, that's a crazy thing to say. For a woman who's married who claims to be traditional, that's crazy. The sisterhood remains strong, even with married women. Wow.
We're doing everything. So let's say Sarah, let's take Sarah as a perfect specimen. You pay all your own
I
bills.
do.
You run your own business.
That's
do.
being an
You pay your own
adult.
payroll.
I do.
You've got
I
employees.
do.
You got your business about you.
Also true.
You know how to cook.
Yes.
You know how to clean.
Yeah.
You
But I
you
hire those.
you yeah, but you if you had to do it yourself,
It's true. I know
if
how.
maids fell off the planet of the earth, you
Okay.
could you know
I
how
don't
to.
like calling them maids. I call them by their names.
If you're cleaners,
No, their names. I just use their specific names.
okay. Well, if Annie
First,
had it, her name's not Annie, but when you die, when you say, "Hey, girl, can you get over here and do what you do?"
oh Lord. Okay.
Whether you outsource or not,
Yeah.
you're doing everything.
Okay.
So in that
That's being an adult. Everything she just listed is everything men do. So does that mean we shouldn't be held accountable also? She just listed what a responsible adult has to do. Take care of yourself. That's it. That's pretty much what she said. Go to work, take care of yourself, pay your bills.
sense, if I'm coming into a new relationship and
Yeah.
I already do everything and I'm used to doing everything, and you don't take anything off my plate as far as doing everything, even if that means you're not paying for the outsourcing of me to, hey girl, can you come over and do that thing you do when you're in my house and when you leave it's clean like magic? Okay. Then what is the point of you? Like if you've why do I have to be held accountable to somebody who's not changing my life? And why would I follow your lead if I don't feel like you're going anywhere? So now men don't know how to lead because I don't have anyone who will follow, but I'm not having anyone who will follow because I'm not exhibiting leadership qualities, but because you're not giving me an opportunity, but because I don't know how to be a man, because I was probably only raised by my mom, and my mom doesn't know how to be a man because it takes a man to raise a man. And it's like this, it's this never-ending story of now I can't be a leader because she won't let me lead her because she saw her mom work 3 jobs and she knows how to do everything all by herself. And here I come as the man, and I don't know how to be a man because I was raised by my mom. And now that I'm raised by my mom and I'm being a man, and I don't have any leadership qualities because I never led anybody, but now I also don't have the wherewithal to take on any of the things off of your plate. And I feel like I'm not taking those things off my plate, so you don't see me as a leader, and you continue to go in your masculine, and you continue to do all the things, and you do live your life according to I don't need you, but I want you. And that's a good place to live, because should you be dependent on anybody? No, but I feel like the power dynamic of all the things that happen is because women, we don't let men lead, and men, they don't want to be leaders. And why wouldn't you? Like, to be a woman is pretty fine. And I will tell you, in my household, it's great. I don't have to think about anything.
Yeah.
I just got to get up. And if the beautiful part about surrendering to your man or submitting to a man who's
Yeah.
led by the right thing is, if this sink goes down, it's not my fault. I'm not
That's
the
a fact.
I'm not the captain.
That's a fact.
I did not lead us into detriment.
Okay, wait. So I have to ask you this.
So I let it play because I wanted you guys to hear what a former single mom, now married to a man who's being a stepdad, sounds like. So to them, a man who's a leader, because I don't know if you guys caught that. She kept saying a man needs to take things off my plate. This is what I've been telling you guys. They consider a man who's a leader a man who's going to pay their bills. That's all she was trying to say. So apparently, men who are not paying their bills are not leaders. If you're not paying her bills, she's not going to submit. If you're not paying her bills, then for some reason she's a feminine man, she's a very good submissive woman, but she's just not a leader because you're not paying her rent and things like that. It's crazy. So if I was her husband, I would be scared. I would be terrified because that means the moment he can't pay the bills, if something happens, she's not going to see him as a leader. Ah, it's crazy.
This question.
Yeah,
So do then you think that women need men?
absolutely. We do.
Why?
Well, if the roles were right,
Good question.
because theoretically, no person needs another person.
I agree.
Every person can do anything for themselves.
Yes, but we desire connectedness.
That's not true. The reason we're all on this earth together is because we need each other. God was not dumb to create a man and a woman. If he didn't want us to be on this planet together, he would have created just men. and He will have created just women. So, yes, we need each other.
But inside of a heterosexual relationship where man is the leader and then it comes wife and then comes the children, there's an order. The order is broken. And so if I go into my relationship thinking I get to dictate everything, and not to say my husband doesn't heed my advice or I don't get to make decisions or I'm some crazy Stepford
Got it.
wife who
Yeah.
doesn't have an opinion or a brain. Let's think about these things, right? If you allow there to be order, and if a man comes in like he is supposed to be the head, and the woman, we're a neck, we lead the direction of where the head's going, right? Um, in that perfect order, in that perfect flow, yes, we absolutely need men. Without men, there'd be no women. There'd be no repopulation, right? There there's a if you take it down to biblical, because that's what I know. And God says that a man is the head of the household. He is that covering, that provider, the protector, right? But if we don't give that opportunity, the sick part is inside of the roles of I don't even know. I wish we could go back to 1950.
Me too, but we're black, so that wouldn't have gone well.
I mean,
However,
No, you can't wish for us to go back to 1950s because y'all have been screaming independent, don't need no man, equality. Because in 1950, the women didn't have to go to work. Y'all have been screaming to go out and work and not depend on a man. You can't have it both ways. And this is why these conversations really these conversations trigger me because in one sentence she claims she's a traditional man, a woman. She wants a leader who's a man. Remember, to them, leadership is a man who's going to pay their bills, right? But then in that sentence, she's saying that the husband submits to her. And then in the next sentence, she says men and women don't need each other. Women don't need men. And then in the next sentence, that's saying they need men for reproduction. And then in the next sentence, she's saying the husband, oh my goodness. Like they pick and choose when they want to be traditional. They pick and choose when a man is a leader. So if a man doesn't pay all your bills, he's not a leader. If a man is not ready to take care of your kids and be a stepdad, he's not a leader. If a man is going to take you to expensive dinner dates, he's not a leader.
Slavery 1950.
no,
but
that's not. I'm talking about civil rights, all of that stuff that was happening, and
no,
you
I
know,
meant in the household. The man went to work.
Yes.
Go work for 16 hours, honey. Bring me home your
16 hours.
Well,
it was
you
8
know,
hours.
it was even if it was 12 hours.
was
Let's say
8.
you worked 2 jobs, 1 job. Heck, you had a husband who worked on Wall Street. He put on a suit, he picked up a briefcase, he walked out the
8
house.
hours.
And when he came home, he had a scotch and a pipe waiting for him, and his slippers, and his children were well kept, and he had a hot meal, and he had a beautiful wife, and she was wearing a corset dress and
Oh, so
looked so
beautiful.
pretty.
My
and the kids
God.
were read to and fed, and she had a nanny to help her raise her children because her husband worked so hard, and they had a
But women in those times said it was slavery. Even women today are saying women in the 1950s, the wives, were being controlled and it was slavery. They had no freedom to do what they wanted to do. And then you have a modern woman claiming we should go back to the 1950s type of relationships. Like, ladies, which is it? Men are confused out here. Which is it? Now, personally, I know you are just picking and choosing when you want to be traditional or the certain traditional roles. But out of 10 women in 2025, you are only going to find one who wants to stay home and cook a meal for the husband when he comes from work. Because most of you are saying it's slavery and you got to pursue your career and your goals. You don't want a man who's going to control your goals, but at the same time, you want the man to pay the bills. Ladies, which is it? All right, couple more minutes.
loving relationship, and he would be the stern hand and the kids heeded their father. I wish we could go back to that because that's what it should be. Is that what everyone seeks or wants? No, live your best life. Okay, whatever.
I keep saying feminism is a scam.
Feminism is a scam. I do not want to be independent.
Oh my
I want to
God.
be so
You see how now they're trying to change, talking about feminism is scam. But these same women will say men are controlling and marriage is slavery and traditional roles don't exist.
codependent. I need my husband. I want my husband. I want to follow his lead. That's how God created me. He created me in a way to follow. He created me as a helpmate. He created me as the opposite to Adam, right? Okay. But I always tease and say, this is biblically, if you read Genesis, God looks at everything and was like, oh, the light's good, the darkness is good, the plants are good, the animals are good, the man, oh, he ain't
Not
good.
good.
That's not good.
Not good at
But you
all.
know what's gonna make it good? He needs a woman. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna put Adam to sleep. I'm gonna take his rib of my rib. I'm gonna make woman from man. And they go together.
Mm-hmm.
They are a
Yin and
unit.
the yang.
That is
But men have been saying this for the longest. Um, the reason I wanted to look at this video because everything these women are saying, I actually agree that we need each other. You know, I agree that this would make relationships and divorce rates would go lower, relationships will be better, you know, marriages will be higher. I agree. They are right. But here's the issue. Everything they are saying, there's a caveat. And what's the caveat, Boogie? The caveat is the man they are talking about in this scenario is their Prince Charming. The man they're talking about in this scenario is a man who's probably 6 feet tall. The Prince Charming they're talking about in this scenario, where they are the nice traditional wives who stay home and cook a meal for a man and they don't think it's slavery, is a man who's probably a millionaire who's paying all the bills. The Prince Charming they're talking about in this scenario is a man who is going to play a stepfather to a single mom, because she's a single mom, but she found a man who married her. That's the type of man they are talking about. So that's the caveat. So don't fall for the okey doke. Oh, women are back. They finally want traditionalism back. No, that's not true. But anyway, shout out to It's Giving podcast. Link down below.